Good morning. It's August the 1st, 2025. It's about 11:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For the record, this is Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, Yahweh, Joshua. Alrighty. So we're going to untie the knot here when it comes to Palestine. So, a couple of notes. So my plan for Gaza, 17 miles of it, and the West Bank is to raise the city, essentially start new. Drive out Hamas, Hezbollah, any insurgents, put them to death. And if they're holding a gun, then you need to put them to death. Because Palestine is who they are under a false pretense. They're worshiping the god Allah and Muhammad. They're in the same boat as the Christians, right? They're idol worshiping, and this is why they are who they are now. They need to come back home. They need to start praising and honoring and worshiping the one true God, Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, Yahweh. They need to remember who their father is. Their father is Abraham. Abraham never worshipped Baal. Abraham never worshipped Allah. There is no Allah. And I, as Elohim, as Yahweh Elohim, never spoke with or to or from a Muhammad. I did speak through Yeshua. I was the spirit that sat with Yeshua. Point is, the land of Palestine really originally is Canaan. All of Canaan was given to Jacob and Jacob's sons, while Esau, let me go back to my note here. So Isaac again was promised the land of Canaan, and fertile and prosperous in the region, and to provide the provision that I would give Isaac. And basically, Gaza and the West Bank are going to be renamed New Canaan of Israel. So, New Canaan of Israel will be the portion that is given to Esau. Here's the stipulation. There is to be no worship of Allah or Muhammad, and the Quran is forbidden. You are to read the Tanakh. As your minimum requirements. You are obligated to Torah, right, the Tanakh. Attend the holy feasts. Do not blaspheme the true name of your actual Elohim, me, Yahweh. Put down Allah, put down Muhammad, right? And if you need to, go to, well, who is the reincarnation of our God on earth? That would be me, Joshua, right? Yehoshua, Yeshua, Joshua. It's the same vehicle I as God come down in, right? And this is what we're going to do with Gaza. Because at the end of the day, a people that's worshiping a false god, they're following false doctrine, and it's obviously leading their hands to commit murder, to commit sin, and they are so far away from me. Why should they be when they are a part of the family, right? As I promised Abraham, I promised, Jacob. Jacob had the 12 tribes. Well, Esau is also considered a patriarch in this, the son. Excuse me. And interesting enough, right? Isaac's name means he will laugh, reflecting the laughter and disbelief of Abraham and Sarah when told by me, Yahweh, that they would have a child. He's the only patriarch whose name was not changed, and the only one that did not move out of Canaan. So the point I'm making is, it's not Palestine. You're not Philistines, okay? When David took out Goliath, that was also a theatrical component of the politics that, that house, I as Elohim have more plans for that house. And we'll go a little deeper into the etymology. And so, of course, I'm a name changer. I've been known to do that a lot. From Abram and Sarai, right, to Abraham and to Sarah. And then a second son by Sarah is Isaac. And basically, yeah, so never futilely deny what I say. Anyway, point I'm just making in summary, I'm not going to get too far into the weeds. As as Bible teachers, pastors, preachers, etc., that's your job to go into your modern Bible, and you need to go and pull out the stuff that's true, and then let the stuff that's not true stay in the background. And this is not to say that the written word is any less sovereign. It's quite the opposite. It's getting closer with not only the author of the Bible, but he who comes to fulfill that Bible. That's where this is your opportunity to not only correct doctrine, but I want you to pay attention to the things I'm doing on the plane, right? Even though we're not face-to-face making merry, we're not doing feasts, we're not having sit-down state dinners quite yet, but right now, I can still move hearts, minds, places, peoples, and things from the very comfort of my home. And a ceasefire is not a solution to a spiritual malady, okay? World nations putting their nose into it and sitting on councils debating about this act or this action is not, it is not the way either. So the way is the same thing. Christians need to put down their idolatry and come back to me. Okay? Muslims, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. When I hear the word, it makes me think of like muzzled. Like you're being muzzled out of your freedom. You're being muzzled out of the truth of your God. You're being muzzled out of the relief that comes from a forgiveness of sin and a removal of shame. You are purposely standing in the abyss of me, Elohim, and trying to pursue a life of satisfaction to your hands, the work of your hands. This is to Palestine, Gazans. So I ask you now, as Elohim, as Yahweh Elohim, the promise that I made to Abraham, the blessings that I gave to Jacob, the promises made to Isaac, New Canaan is Israel's. But you will share New Canaan with your brother as intended. So the blessing of a brother is extended to a brother. And how do you know your brother? You know your brother by only one manner and one measure, and that is by what God they serve. If Israel and the Jews and the Israelites all honor, worship, and praise the one true God, Palestine surrenders their Philistine ways and their idolatry and the devil's doctrine, right? And when I say devil's doctrine, most things come in pairs. So if you also see a theme in the Bible that most things come in pairs, it's true, because the spheres of the world, the layers of the world are made up in usually 2s and 3s. So you have both lineages, both lines, both sharing into an inheritance, and the one common denominator is you're following the Torah, you're following the 10 Commandments. You know your Elohim, me, and you know my name when I visit earth. That is your prophecy coming to fruition. So when Yeshua came, one of his missions that's not written about was never fulfilled either. So I, as Elohim, was cut short in that time to perform something that I personally desired to do. As now I have returned and I am back, and I am going to fix my house on earth, the house of Yahweh, house of YAHUWAH. And all those that are in my house and under my spiritual roof are to obey the 10 Commandments, to know the first 5 books of the Bible, to know me above all else, and my name is Yahweh, YAHUWAH, the El Elyon, and walk out righteously. Because guess what? When you know your one true God and you find a brother who worships and honors that same God, that's your common denominator. That is your unbreakable bond. That is the glue between 2 boards. That is the covenant that I forge with you in your heart. That is something that never goes away. It is not something that can be legislated about. Instead, it is every man and woman making an honest and true effort to tear off their sleeves, get on the floor, and rub your face in mud. Completely darken yourself with mud, dirt, and dust. Put your face to the ground. Cry, weep, and repent. And then I will come into your heart, and I will break the darkness. I will restore you back to sanity. I will calm your hands of sin, and I will welcome you back into the Holy Family. And then not only the house of Esau will be adjoined, but Isaac will then be assured in the land of New Canaan under all things that I, as Yahweh Elohim, will ensure. And the bad blood between brothers will be no more. As I stated, there is no more Philistia. There are no more giant clans that have natural urges to hurt or harm good humans and righteous people of the earth. But that wretched blood runs spiritually deep in all sides of the world, and it needs to be remedied, and it can only be remedied through the power and the divine manifestation of me, Yahweh Elohim, in the heart and mind of every man and woman. And all children are saved through grace and grace alone. But again, by 16, they should be doing their bar or bat mitzvahs, and then of course I'm not going to go into that. But I do say that because all the Palestinian children, right, they need to join the family. And you would make yourselves prouder than you could ever imagine if you dropped your Philistia name, right? If you're the house of Esau in the land of New Canaan, that's fulfilling, right? If you're the house of Isaac, fulfilling in the New Canaan. And there's a lot of stuff you guys could really go into. So, once again, Esau and Jacob will be on the same tier. And it is not a two-state solution because the land is mine, Yahweh. And I mean, all land is mine. But at the same time, I happily rent out my land to all nations and to all peoples to beautify, magnify. And at the very minimum, if you're not a worshiper, if you're not an inner family member, then at the minimum, right, walk carefully on creation. You do not harm another, and you do not sin. That's it. That has nothing to do with being good or bad. That has everything to do with just your being born, and you have a contract, and you have a living life inside of you. You have a responsibility to live a good life. If you are going down the wrong road, it is not just you that you hurt. You hurt the image of the world. You hurt my image. If all of you are my imagers, and you are, what you look like, how you act, how you respond, is all a direct reflection upon me, your holy and heavenly Father. And I do not like to look around me and see everything other than what I wish for. And I wish for my people to realize they are my people. This is one of my most irritating things with every nation, right? Christians don't understand that they belong under the roof of Yahweh. You know, my inner circle Jews know me, and they know that that's the truth. And then my Muslims, right, they're completely under a new religion, under gods that their fathers knew not. They're under a doctrine that was self-made, and they're under a prophet that really didn't, honestly, like, he's so left wheel, I don't even know what to say about this Muhammad person. I don't even know if he existed, to be honest. I did a little research last night into some time periods, and frankly, from what I understand, I'm not sure why that's there. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. But yeah, because the land of Palestine is claimed by the descendants of Abraham, particularly through Isaac, as the divine covenant. Palestinians and Jews are a common genetic ancestor, and the promise to Abraham that his descendants would inherit the land of Palestine, or Canaan, leading to claims of Jewish ownership, and Palestinians considered part of Abraham's lineage. They did not receive the same blessing as Isaac, highlighting the complexities of their relationship with the land. And again, at the end of the day, because really Palestinians, who are living in Gaza and the West Bank, I don't even know why you're trying to associate with Philistia. And honestly, I couldn't even tell you what... Yeah. Ahura Mazda. Is that the Iranian deity? Yeah. And I don't even know, right? I really don't even know what the Iranians, or who the Iranians worship. Let me see. What deity does Iranian people worship? Let's find out together. Okay, so it is Ahura Mazda. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, shoot, I'm trying to figure out who put that in there. Okay, well, Ahura Mazda is not a god that I created. I don't know where that came from. It probably is just an idol. But in short, why shouldn't New Canaan of Israel be beautiful? Why shouldn't it have, synagogues up for brothers to worship together, places of common for there to be big feasts? I mean, imagine that's an extra 17 miles of area for people to not only live, play, school, have doctors, have jobs. And the great thing about a rebuilding infrastructure phase is once you've effectively won the people, because that's the next step, is you need to have the people know that I, as Elohim, am putting that covenant on the table. And I am not only striking an old covenant, I'm renewing an old covenant, but I'm fulfilling an old covenant and striking a new one. And that's important, because if my family, if the brothers can stop fighting and realize that they belong to the same master, the same God, the same Elohim, they'll be able to find it in their heart. Those that are wrong will see they're wrong. Those that are right will help those who are wrong. And then those who want to remain wrong and steadfast against me and my nation, then they will fall by the sword, sweareth I, saith Yahweh. And even if they are undercut by evil, even if they are parasitically ridden, I promise, I handle every soul with the utmost care and attention, and I do a full and sturdy review of the individuals and their history, and I do genuinely try to rehabilitate any and all soul that comes in line, because it would be the equivalent that if I was a business owner, I want more people to come work for me than I want people to quit. I want to find every reason in the world why I want an employee to stay versus why I want an employee to be fired. And especially with new employees, sometimes they have a few issues. It's very much like that, as it feels like with my churches. And right now I'm trying to wean Christians off of idolatry. I'm trying to wean Muslims off of idolatry, and then I'm just trying to get the Jews to tighten up and start treating me as their Elohim, and to make outreach to all these camps and to present my covenant, because there's a blessing that comes with you if you're a Jew or if you're an Israelite. I would not rather my Christians try this. This is not for you. I mean, you are part of the family, but right now you're in the basement. So this is up to my Jews and my Israelites. You need to reach out to your Philistia brotherhood, and you need to let them know that they've fallen for the devil's tricks again. They're reading the devil's manuscripts. They're following a God that doesn't exist. That's a front. All is a front. It's a front for Hasatan. And that's not their maker, that's not their Elohim, and that's not even a God that their fathers knew or worshipped. So they need to come back home under the true God, Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, Yahweh, read the Torah, obey the feasts, observe them. And if we can get to that point, 10 Commandments, the Tanakh, and the worship of the one true God, Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, that'll be the baseline of a brand new covenant. And that will be truly a glorious thing. And if we can do that, I will send signs and wonders to confirm that. I will send a sign and a wonder in the sky for all to see, for my pleasement upon the covenant. And I am proud of President Trump for standing by me and standing by Benjamin Netanyahu. So President Trump, personally, I thank you. We've had a bit of a rocky road, but I think we're still making more progress than we're faltering. And intent and grace, is extended on both sides of this. So I appreciate that. Canada they're flailing. They have weak leadership. You see that, Mr. President, and I see that. Keep pressing, and I'm in full support of not only the tariff, but I'm in full support of Canada being quiet and sitting down and letting the adults at the table do the bidding. And same thing goes for the United Kingdom with Keir Starmer. You have an option in this to be helpful or be ignorant. And if you want to play into the world arena on my earth, I as Elohim have a chair. Indefinitely, eternally, I have a chair, which means I have a voice in the matter. And my decision is what goes. Whether humans want that or not, that's the way these things go. My will be done on earth as it is in heaven isn't just a saying. It's a declaration. So, that's what my work coming up is going to be heavily in. Working through my Israelites, through my Jews, to get to Muslims, to get to the Palestinian people, to get them to remove the Philistia curse and remove that Quran. That's a nasty thing. Hit their faces in repentance. Tear your clothes. This is important. Tear your clothes. Rub mud on your face and all over your body. Look as degraded as you can. As when I wrestled with Jacob, I made him in the end. I made him in the end rip his sleeve. Now, I don't know if that's written or not, but that's true. And, we're a family. I can't stress this enough. We are a family. And instead of destroying Esau, it's way more important for me to see the brothers get along. And they will. They have to. And once they do, they'll sober up. They will. They'll sober up. And the more people that do it, the more in mass we do it, the more attention it receives, the bigger the miracle I'll do, the bigger the witness I'll make. If someone gives me a true witness this weekend, I will uphold the same. if you do a true witness for me, Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, I will give you blessings. I will give you more to witness on. But we need to get into the witnessing phase. And I assume if my Samaritans are able to erect Babel, if you're able to do all the things in which you've done, I'm sure that we can socially get enough of my message to every Christian, every Muslim, and Jew, and Israelite worldwide. So what was so important when Yeshua was saying, you need to go do the first commission, tell everybody that I'm here, tell everybody that I'm bringing the kingdom, I'm bringing the news from the kingdom, I am speaking directly from another realm, right? Very few people were actually motivated. Very few people actually knew even what they were doing. Most of the time, most people in the day, your Mark, Luke, John, all of those guys were actually just carrying the Torah, the Tanakh, and they were teaching on it the way Yeshua, the way I as Yahweh was teaching it through Yeshua. The disciples were picking it up, and then they were teaching it the same way. And then when questioned about their teaching, then they would say our teacher, our master, our Messiah, Yeshua, is the Messiah, meaning that he is possessed with the Holy Spirit, right? He has insights that no other man does. He's able to speak and see as God speaks and sees. Well, as a fully incarnated God deity on earth, right? Now I'm not working through anybody. Now I just am who I am, for good and bad. But that is the focus. That is the focus this week. Because in summary, 77 years since Israel came as a people in 1948. 77 years now, Israel's been building people, places, and things to support a pious and growing city. Meanwhile, across the fence, to shield from bombs and rocks being thrown at them, sons of Esau have been building bombs, weapons of death, and have made no progress on building their own people, places, or things up, but rather tearing them down. So what I mean is, they have had a Palestinian state this entire time. They have. And it was not recognized due to the lack of necessary infrastructure required to actually participate in the world's affairs. So, what this means in layman's terms is they've already had a two-state solution, and the solution has never been there, and no one can even see a solution because it hasn't solved anything. Because you're still trying to deal with good versus evil in the matter of the heart. It's not a matter of land. Again, they need to denounce the devil, denounce the Quran, get out of Muslim, get out of Philistia, get out of idolatry, get out of worshiping Baal, and come over back to me, Yahweh. Get back under your father Abraham and, walk side by side with your brother Yaakov, right? Because, again, if they would have taken... as early as 2014, Gaza received $4.6 billion in aid to build schools, hospitals, grocery stores. Not one dime was spent on roads, water wells, irrigation, places of commerce, or trade. So the road is not unfamiliar, rather it's been tried and tested in all manners and ways, and instead of success, it remains elusive. So, no human wants to be a murderer at heart, nor an outcast of the world, but right now they are, and it's all due to Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran, right? They're the ones that are influencing, call it Philistia, call it Esau, right? Because again, that's not who you are anymore. And just like in the very beginning, when those who made Exodus out of Egypt, out of Pharaoh, right, or the Shasu that I worked with coming around in the Egyptian times, all of these situations have been a people group that have either been led astray by the devil and they've had no God to protect them, or their God got fired by me and therefore they were orphaned. And now in the end days, there are no other gods that are interacting on the earth plane other than me, Yahweh Elohim. And it was only mainly at this time because I need everyone to pay attention and focus. And it's kind of like, I like to use this. It's like walking into the daycare and all the kids are busy. Everyone's doing their own thing, right? They're all just so... You go to this corner, Jimmy and Janie are having detailed discussions of the little red wagon and the fire engines and the toys, and I, as Father, as Elohim, as your Holy Father, He who art from heaven, He who created all, have come down, and I'm in the daycare, and I'm like, okay, they don't notice me yet. They don't know me yet. It's like, okay, everybody, have a seat. And then the kids are still kind of stern. They're like, but teacher, a snack time, a cheese stick. And that relates to, but Jesus, but Muhammad, but I can sin because of salvation. And I like ham on Sunday. And I don't know this Yahweh. I love Jesus. I don't know Muhammad or whatever. I'm saying everyone's got this like woozy ambience about them. And that's why I say, like, then you're dealing with too much in your mind. I mean, I could put it on a Post-it note, so small a Post-it note could hold it. And, that's what my Post-it even says. And it's, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your might. Know my name is Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH. Yahweh Elohim means Yahweh God, God YAHUWAH. Yahweh God, God YAHUWAH. And there are righteous laws and strictness when it comes to how you behave in public, how you handle your brother, how you handle in general, right? And that is at its very baseline. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Do not take my name in vain. Calling me Jesus is taking my name in vain. I'm not Jesus. I'm not Muhammad. I'm not Allah. I'm Yahweh. Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, Yahweh. Again, when I come to earth, my name is Joshua. My birth name is Joshua, right? Yahweh is salvation. Yahweh is deliverance. It is a play on my name. I'm here to save. I'm here to deliver people from sin. And I'm here to deliver you into the promised land, both spiritually and physically. And, it's pretty simple. My last name is Graham, right? The Tetragrammaton, the holy names of God. And as being the Lord of hosts, the lesser ordinance ruler divine of hosts, the creator of gods, right? When I created God, here's an example. When I created God, I start with attributes. And not all attributes are created and can essentially be baked. Like, I can't create it in the clay and then bake it in permanence because of free will. So I can form it in clay and I can bake it as permanence in my heart. But when I put that creation back down, it has free will. It can take itself out of form, therefore out of covenant, out of my eye view, out of my ear. It can take itself, because of free will, out of salvation, out of deliverance. Which is also why, if you're preaching, once saved, always saved, that is, again, it's faulty doctrine. And, most people, humans, you can understand, if I were just talking about family relationships, I feel like people would understand me a lot more than what they do. Because you're all trying to look at me as like I don't exist, and that's the hard part. That's the heartbreaking part, because I really do exist, and I really am a fatherly figure, and I really am righteous and holy, and I desire a human family that I love and they love me back. I desire to be able to attend feasts with my people. I desire to be able to work signs and wonders and miracles for the betterment of people, to not only reaffirm their faith, but that they can be confident in their walk on earth. Imagine one of the biggest fears that people have is death. And me being here is an unequivocal 100% proof of heaven is real and eternal life is real. What more good news could you take anywhere? The proof of my existence being here is proof that when you die, you're not a nothing. So your walk on earth matters. It matters hugely. And not just to yourself. It matters to every man, woman, and child upon the plain. If you're not being the best that I created you to be, then not only are you selling yourself short, but you're shortening You're selling yourself short with your relationship with me, your Elohim. And that's a big deal. You should be excited for life. You should be excited that I'm here. You should be in tears of happiness that I'm here. And all those who know my name, it's simple. If you know my name and you love me, I'm going to take you to heaven. If you die before we do that, then you're still going to go. It's not hard. And yet, humans will argue about Muhammad said this and Jesus said that and Jehovah did this, and it's like, I don't understand, because in one way, it's like if I look at you, I'm like, they just keep getting my name wrong. Are they this stupid? But then it's like I investigate it further. No, they know my name, and then they refuse to use my name, and instead they use these idols' names. Now we're in trouble, right? It's like going back to the housing thing. If I am father of the house, and and I'm like, kid borrows the car. It's like, okay, Jacob is my son. So I don't have to even try to make it up. So Jacob, why did you take the keys in the car and go do what you wanted? Why didn't you talk to me? Were you in a hurry? Were you caught off guard? Were you late? And he's like, no, Dad, just didn't care to talk to you. I just took your keys and did it. And as dad, I'm like, well, all right, wait a minute. I know you better than this. Why would you do something like that? And then it's such a foreign element as a father when then you see your child, he's like, it's basically, screw you, Dad. I do what I want to do. Then he walks away and then throws the keys at me. It's like, what? Who is this? Who is this son? This is not my son. What is going on here? And if you're a parent, you can feel what I'm talking about. This is how I feel as the father of Christianity, the father of the Jewish community, the father of the Israelites, the birther of the world, the creator of humans, right? The creator of gods and men. And every time I look at my family and I'm like, Christians, what are you guys doing? It's terrible. Muslims, I don't even know what you are. And that's what I mean, right? If the children of the house could come back to respecting their father, then Jacob would not have ever stole the keys and stole the car. Instead, Jacob would have sat down and talked to his dad and said, hey, Dad, I need to borrow the car and, go to practice today and I'll bring it back. Okay. Well, hey, Jacob, thanks for telling me that you wanted to borrow the car for soccer practice and now back. That's a different story than having an attitude, throwing the keys at me, giving me the bird, right? So when you're worshiping Muhammad, you're giving me the bird. When you're worshiping Jesus, you're giving me the finger. When you are talking about Jehovah, then you are essentially, you're pissing on my name. And as the father, I'm concerned more about how to get to you and to help you and to get you across the finish line than I'm more concerned with about how to pow-pow you. But I have to pow-pow countries and places and principalities and nations, because if I don't, people just get right back slack. They get right back into their own mandom. They get right back into the pleasement of their heart. And I don't want to pander at my people. I shouldn't have to pander at my people. I should be enjoying days in the palace. I should be enjoying, a cup of coffee with a prime minister on a Monday, and then traveling to go visit a nation for an opening of a synagogue, and blessing people and showing up at starved areas, providing food to millions of people. I should be there cutting ribbons, opening hospitals. I should be there healing babies. There's a lot of things, and it's like the world would rather keep a shadow and me under a lampshade and try to sell their sin medication. I see so many commercials for HIV. You've made a medication for a sin. This is how bad my family is, how bad my earth family has gotten. You've not only accepted sin, you've promoted sin, and then you try to even sell the remedy to your sin. Well, it couldn't be that you're committing homosexual acts, which stems HIV, for a reason, because it is a penalty from heaven. It's why it's not allowed. And instead of solving the problem by killing those who are homosexual through the virus of HIV and AIDS, humanity has ramped up the ability to then save people from the deadly disease. Joy. So it's this constant human circumvention around everything I try to set up as holy, just, and right. Humans want to defile it, tear it down, and then go do their own thing. And it's like, when I start getting in that language, my frustration builds, and I then get like wrathful, because I'm just like, it's a waste of time. Like, I start getting into that mindset of it's just a waste of time. Nobody's listening, nobody cares, and then I get really pissed, and then I start thinking flood days. I'm not gonna lie, I really do. I start Asher, talk me down, but I do. I start feeling days of Noah, and dare I say, I have even look around to even see if there's a Noah. Alright, so there's any last ones I want to do. Oh, but anyway, Jacob kept the blessing, and the blessing came with a promise from me, Elohim, that him and his tribes, his sons, would never forget me or my traditions and laws. And whereas Esau was promised, as directed by me, Yahweh, to give his house a residence on the property of Canaan, and that time is now. But they will not be under servitude to Yaakov, but brothers in my eyes, equal to the point of righteousness they display, and piousness I expect from any and all who are in my covenants. So Palestine will no longer be Philistia, but Esau, brother of Israel, and both committed to me, their Elohim Yahweh. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's what I'm focusing on. We'll see if my churches can pull it together. And then, on the Christian side of the house, I mean, we are on the struggle bus. Let me tell you, we really are. We're on the struggle bus. Because while I feel like the kids are still like my Christians, right? Going back to the daycare thing, right? Christians, like people of earth, all people of earth are in this big daycare. And it's like the whole daycare is like waiting on the pizza party. And at any moment, they're expecting me, Yahweh, to come in the door with 25 pizzas and the Sprites, the juices, right? All the snacks and the chips and everything. And it's like, we're not doing pizza until we get the daycare cleaned up. And the kids are like, oh, we don't want to do that. No, we wanted pizza and Sprite, and then I wanted to go, play on the playground. That's the response I'm getting now, right on earth. Everybody's like, we wanted a rapture. We wanted Jesus to float in the air. We wanted to pet him in the air. We wanted magic. We wanted that none of us had to do anything. We didn't want to have to. We just literally one day wanted to suspend in midair and live in this nirvana and never have to do anything. And it's like, sorry, but there's real work that needs to be done. There was real work that needed to be done when before Yeshua, right? And I got to share in that lovely experience with Yeshua. And, but anyway, so the thing is, I would like my churches, right, to get more mature, and a part of that maturity starts with being able to have a realistic conversation. And I mean, I should be known about on TV. It's that important. I should be known about all over the world. As fervently and feverishly as people have prepared and waited for the return of Jesus, who does not exist. It's an idol. But the return of me, Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, is here, happening now. Me, I am He. I am God. And I'm really wanting to do a lot of cool things. But I also need to keep these things tight. So judgments are not going to fall at the doorstep. But this is just one step closer to what the next thing that's going to happen can be remedied by the people, places, and things in which is about to happen to them. So truly, truly, I tell you, this is urgent. It is. I am looking intently for responses. Alright, I'm going to take 5, make sure I don't have anything else, and then I will conclude. Alright, so in conclusion, there's 2 houses in the end days here. You have the house of me, God, Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, creator of heaven and earth, on earth with you now. And that's one roof. It's offered by covenants, it's offered by Torah obedience, and knowing my true name, Yahweh Elohim, YAHUWAH, Yahweh. The house number 2 is the house of the world. It is the unkept, unclean daycare. It is the daycare that has gotten repeated condemnation notices and has failed to comply in any shape or manner that gives me any inclination that they are willing to change. I condemn the world, and I condemned all those who have chosen the house of the world. Now I warn you, these judgments are very, very severe. And before I cast them, I will allot time. This is crucial. This is why I need any and all people who know me, who know about me, to truly mobilize. Because before these judgments are actually thrown and seated in stone upstairs, I need to really see who has a heart for me and who doesn't, who can walk in me, who can walk with me in faith and belief like Abraham did, like Moses did, like Joshua did, like Yeshua did, like Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Amos. They all walked with me in faith, even when the world spit at them, even when the world crucified them, even when the world, John, here was something I was going to touch on, but John really comes close to my heart. But John was hated by even his own people. Believe this or not, and he was baptizing people in the River Jordan. And at that time, this is what I mean, people are so disillusioned by fact and reality and how things really played out. Not in the shows, not in the books, not even in the Bible, but how it really played out. Baptism initially, right, was to prepare for the arrival of me, Yahweh, in the incarnation of Yeshua, right, or Yeshua's incarnation of me, Yahweh, however you want to put it. But and then continuing on the tradition, right, with the Gentiles of baptism, that tradition was kept alive in my heart and in heaven, right, mainly because of John's place in my heart. And that's what I want the world to know is, I am a God of relationship. I'm an Elohim of deep care, deep compassion, and true love. Love where I would rather take the brunt of your pain and teach you through it. And instead of you having to feel the pain while you're experiencing the teaching, I try to take that pain for you. And a lot of times I try to get you out of the way, get you out of the pain, right? But at some point, I need to make decisions, and I can't bear the thought of losing people. But almost harder than that to bear is the thought of people that have found the truth waxing cold, because I do have some people that found me early on and they're getting fatigued because they're like, well, boss, we don't really know what to do, right? Every day I wake up, it's the same thing. Every day I wake up, it's kind of like we're in repeat, and we're in a holding pattern. I'm in a holding pattern until my churches are, the fire is lit under you to get out there and do the deal. Like, the world does not. I've been here for so long, and the world yet knows. People have investigated everything from Nostradamus to Baba Vodka. They're scraping up prophecies from Edgar Cayce, and yet no one is realizing that God himself is here doing all these things. All the peril, all the world events, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, volcanoes, tsunamis, or not tsunamis, thanks to Asherah. But I mean, all these things are done for me, or done by me for my purpose. To get your attention, come back to me, come back to your Elohim. Stop all the idolatry, because again, between Muslims and Christians, you guys are some of the worst sufferers from idolatry. You've gotten yourself dirty, and the other side of you's gotten yourself murderous. At least Christians aren't murderous. Well, I mean, I say that, but even at the same time, so many of these people lately that have been murdering, like New York City murder guy, the Arkansas murder people, all these people at some point in their lives, I've looked, most of them have said they've believed in Jesus. I mean, they've believed in idolatry, and they've unfortunately succumbed to demonic parasites. There's no question about it. And it's like, where was the righteous people of this person's life? Why were they trying to shove everything that doesn't work down their throat and their mind? Most people need a reconnection with me, their Elohim. And most mental symptoms dissipate, most addictions dissipate, idolatry dissipates, reading the Bible becomes simplistic and not heavy. Understanding the relationship that I, as your Elohim, desire to have with you is simple, it's not complicated. The blessings that I give people in covenant, to me, are hugely important. And I fulfill. So, we'll keep it there. Have a good weekend. And, happy Shabbat for tomorrow. Tomorrow night is council meeting for me. So I will be coming up with fresh people, places, and things, and a fresh list of those that I'll be taking. So, stay awares. Please do as I say, and a blessing will come to you. All right.